Being diagnosed with dementia is never easy, even when those around you recognise the symptoms and were, in a way, expecting it. Finding out early can make all the difference in slowing down the disease, but the tests can be difficult and expensive. But as I've been finding out, a team from the University of Nottingham may now have an answer.
It's very hard to say you got dementia and that's it, full stop.
The end game is what everyone with Alzheimer's is worried about.
Your life doesn't finish just because you get a diagnosis.
We were looking forward to spending a retirement together and doing the things we wanted to do, and it changes all that.
In the UK, over 820,000 people are living with dementia. Over the next 10 years in the East Midlands, the number is expected to reach nearly 70,000. 4 years ago, Gary Musson from Calverton was diagnosed with dementia. How does it make you feel? I mean, you seem to cope very well with all of this, but...
Sick. A lot of things that you can be doing, but you can't do them. So you have to just, like, sit in the house sometimes.
Dementia, from the Latin, literally means loss of the mind. And it's a very diverse condition, and there are many different types. The most common type involves loss of memory, and it's loss of short-term memory to begin with, and later on longer-term memories can also be lost. And that's the type which encompasses Alzheimer's dementia.
I have to sit there and think, come on brain, work it out, come on, work it out.
Dementia doesn't only affect the elderly. Heather Roberts was diagnosed with a form of Alzheimer's at 50.
It took me a good 3 years to get a diagnosis, probably a little bit longer than that, because I had a long, hard fight to get somebody to appreciate that even somebody at 50 could have a problem.
She had to pack in work because she couldn't cope with it, and she found that really quite difficult to deal with.
This was just after we moved to this house.
It was the people I was working with, and they noticed that I wasn't doing it right. I could do partly most of some bits of the job, but I had to come out of it because I didn't want to kill anybody on electrics.
But at that time, when my son and my daughter were with Gary's friend, and he was a really good friend, it had upset him as well. I think my daughter broke down and cried, and then it upset me.
All right. We'll work it out, won't we? Hey.
Dr Nin Bajaj, a neurologist at the Working Age Dementia Clinic at Nottingham's Queen's Medical Centre, specialises in treating people under the age of 65.
If we don't tackle it, it's likely that the prevalence of dementia, the number of cases out there in the community, will keep on increasing, and it will become even more of a social and economic burden.
Since her diagnosis at a relatively young age, Heather Roberts, with her husband Dave, has worked endlessly to raise awareness of dementia. Today, they've travelled from their home in Derby to the International Alzheimer's Conference in London.
Increasingly, conferences are being put together where people with dementia play a much more active part. And I think that is very, very important when you've got academics and healthcare professionals who, if they're not careful, can live in a kind of theoretical bubble.
The most high-profile person with dementia is a man who makes his living from words. Terry Pratchett has sold 70 million books, one of our most successful authors. But 5 years ago, he was diagnosed with early onset dementia.
When you read, you turn the pages automatically. That's how it all works. The bit that means that that joins up the writing in your head doesn't seem to work. I can get away with all this because I've got a PA, I've got lots of computer equipment, and so my life is not that different than the life of the average writer.
Sir Terry Pratchett.
I knew something was wrong quite a long time in advance of the diagnosis.
Dementia care is costly. It's estimated that we spend £23 billion every year looking after patients with the condition. At the moment, it costs several £100s to accurately diagnose dementia and takes time. Now the team at the University of Nottingham are developing a technique which makes it easier. It's hoped that for less than £5, the machine will be able to detect the existence of dementia from a simple blood test taken in your GP surgery.
Because the screen is relatively cheap, we're essentially changing the way the health service would work in the sense that you'd be monitoring health rather than reacting to disease. So you then see the disease in the very early stages and treat it very early on rather than reacting to a problem when it's rather serious much later on.
Gary is part of the testing programme in Nottingham. Today he's here to give more blood samples. He'll also be doing a memory test. It can be difficult for those who support him.
So the test will take about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then when we've finished the test, we'll send you to the blood clinic to have your blood test. Okay. So can you tell me what day it is today?
Today?
Yeah. Now, can you take 7 away from 100? What is 100 minus 7? Draw a clock face with all the numbers on it. Okay.
You had some tests last week, Gary, and they were quite challenging. How did you feel that they went?
I can't remember at the moment.
How does it affect your daily life?
Finding his way around the house. I can tell him where to go and get a pair of socks from, and then the next time he wouldn't know. So every time he needs something different, each time I have to tell him exactly where it is. Down the corridor, which door, which set of drawers. I mean, sometimes he'll say, well, where is the bedroom?
This machine, if it works as well as we think it will work, will have a global impact. The diagnostic market in dementia is known to be worth many billions of dollars, and that's a reflection of the burden of this disease around the world.
The ability to detect dementia early in the future, thanks to the work in Nottingham, will mean people with help can live a normal life for longer. And that gives meaning to the phrase, rather than just adding years to your life, you'll be adding life to your years.
He knows how I feel.
Yeah, well, we've gone through it together, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know your little ways.
This is your wake-up call. Live life to the full with that person while they can.
I shall continue to do the work, and like all the other people here with dementia, we'll just plough our way onwards.
Different things happen to different people, don't they?
Yeah.
There's lots of people have to cope with different illnesses, and this is just one of them.
Our thanks to everyone for sharing their very personal experiences. But that's it from Derby for this week. Thanks for watching. See you next Monday. Next week, quicksand, freezing water and falling rocks. Why Derbyshire's quarries can be a death trap.
It's shocking. These kids think they're invincible, and it is so dangerous. Dangerous.